All right, have and have not fans. Now here we are with another episode review video for Sugar Mama. Now first off, to everybody new to the channel, I hope you take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Pretty much hit the bell notification icon as well. That way you don't miss out on any new content I put here on the channel. Also, a special shout out to Miss Tinka Sumner, aka Candace Young. She hits the big 3-8 today, and I swear she does not look an age over 25 or 26. This isn't me being, overly flirtatious, but no. She literally looks like she's in her 20s, and that's amazing. But wow, what an episode, Sugar Mama. Also, just a quick announcement. I did get a few messages last night. I'm assuming they're from newer people on the channel, just so everybody knows, just to, refresh everybody. What I do, I watch the episode on Tuesday night, but then on Wednesday morning, I watch the episode a second time. That way I'm taking notes so I can have a thorough review when I do my episode reviews around Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, depending on how busy my mornings are. So if you don't see an episode review video on Tuesday night, that's just because I like to be very thorough with my reviews. And for starters, I usually say this part for the end, but since I did a minute of advertising, if you will, I just want to say that I feel like this episode deserves about I'm 8 out of 10. I gave last week's episode a 9.5 out of 10 just because it felt very fast paced. This episode did drag on in certain places, but the thing is, it wasn't a lot of wasted time. When people were talking, things were being said that were important. Like the scene between David and Jim was it felt almost like 10 minutes, but the best part is there was a lot of stuff being discovered, like who took the money, where did it go, calling Lloyd. And I'll get to that scene later, but let's just start at the beginning. First off, when Benny took the gun away from the guy shooting at him and flipped it on him saying, "I didn't kill anybody," who else was thinking about Craig and Pinky from Next Friday? He's like, "Say it again." But I ain't do it. Say it again. But I don't know why. That's all I thought about. All I could think about was when Craig and Pinky were fighting in the record store because Pinky thought Craig was a robber. He's like, "Look, I'm trying to tell you. I tried to tell you, crazy ass. I'm Day Day's cousin." And then it's like Benny telling that guy, "Look, let me get my phone. I know that guy's nephew." So that was pretty funny. And well, not to just skip around, but since the Benny scene was really brief, let's just jump to the Mitch scene when he's waiting outside of the house, and they're going back and forth, and Benny's trying to explain that I wasn't the one that killed your uncle. And I can understand that because Mitch told Benny not to go down there. Mitch is going to assume the worst due to the fact that his uncle is said to be dead, so I can understand why he would be a bit irate. But this episode was full of people being emotionally driven. And let's see here. I have to admit, the RK and Candace scene was really cute. I'm not going to lie. I like those two together. It's really, it was a cute scene. Tinka looked beautiful. Her smile, it was in her hotel room, it was dark, but her smile was just so glowing. And I mean that in a good way, like glowing white, not glowing yellow. Her smile just lit up the room. It was a great scene, really cute. Little boy, come back to me when you grow up. That was pretty funny stuff. And RK gave Candace a bone, pretty much saying that, hey, Rocky gave you up. And it's kind of interesting when you think about it, because it's almost like RK was rewarded for helping out Candace by saying that RK snitched on her. Yet when Erica tries to do the same thing, saying that Jim Cryers downstairs are talking about you and they found out about the inheritance, Erica just got cussed out and whatnot. That's kind of weird, but whatever. I would hate for Oscar to be killed off by Jim, because this Oscar is not the normal Oscar we're used to. If this would have happened the same night that Oscar was still, coming down from being drugged, then I will understand him being unable to, his speech is slurred. Because Oscar's always been this suave, smooth, debonair character who is so calculating. Now it's like he can't even put two sentences together. I don't like this. This is the kind of crap I hate seeing, when characters are seemingly dumbed down for the sake of the plot so they can be killed off. I do not want Oscar to die like this. This is just ridiculous. If Oscar gets killed by Jim in this condition that he is now, then I would have rather had him died from being overdosed by whatever Candace gave him, just because I do not feel like this is doing the character justice. But I did like this dialogue. Get your hand off me. Get your hand off me. I love you, Oscar. And I got to say that Jim gets the trophy for biggest ass in the episode. That was hilarious. And if I'm not mistaken, does Oscar still got that scar over his eye from being hit by that, what was it, that iron pole that Candace whammed him against the face with at the campaign office? Well, to be fair, that is a pretty nasty scar. I'm pretty sure if you get hit by a blunt metal object, it's going to leave a mark for a little while. Let's see here. Yeah, and then Hannah overhears the argument between Mitch and Benny, says he needs a lawyer. And I will admit this. At least Benny says that this is my mess. I need to fix it. I'll give him credit for that. I'll give him credit for that. But at the same time, going to Veronica, it is a double-edged sword there, because it's like she is the best, but at the same time, you're not in her good graces. So if anything, you explaining the story to Veronica is like giving her more ammunition, because when you really think about it, Veronica has the keys to putting Benny behind bars. But then on the flip side, it's like, okay, I don't even have to worry about having Jeffrey sign the paperwork for the Quincy Maxwell murder. If I want to put Jeffrey back in jail for that, I can do it. So in a way, Veronica really is holding the keys. So that's not a good thing. Then I love when she opens the door and RK just slides on in there. So he's 25 and Jeffrey is older than 25. Interesting. I remember doing that character age video a couple months ago, and I don't know if I put Jeffrey in there as being over 25, but oh well. Now, let me just say this much. I prefer this drunk Veronica in last night's episode than last week's episode. Last week's episode was funny, but it felt a bit like they drew it out a bit too long. But I don't know why, but this just lingerie wearing, traipsing around her house, Veronica that's drunk, is funny. My question is she going to remember any of this in the morning? That's my major question. You got two young things at your house. Luckily, Benny was able to maneuver his way out of there before it was too late. And yeah, RK was a trip. I swear, he was definitely one of my favorite characters in this episode. I hope he sticks around for a little while. But something tells me that's not going to happen, because given the fact that he was snooping around a room and taking a few things here and there, I was actually going to be pretty impressed if he was able to crack that safe. But who is to not say that Veronica doesn't have some sort of camera in her room? Because remember when she got the word from Quita that there was somebody at her house to kill her, she pulled up to the front yard and took out like her iPad or tablet, and then there were like 4 different surveillance cameras within the house, and then there was one in the living room where she saw the guy there was trying to be her sniper. So I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Veronica doesn't pick up on the fact that this little boy was over here stealing stuff. And that tells me that it wouldn't surprise me if she invites RK over to a house again and ends up killing him. I do not see that as an impossibility, because this is Veronica we're talking about. And yeah, Jim and Erica met. It wasn't what I expected. I even did that video. Remember that video I did a couple days ago? Will David find out the truth about Erica? And I even put in that video, I didn't suspect those two to meet. But let me just put it this way. David, Veronica, the Harringtons were on point like a family dynasty this episode. They weren't taking anybody's shit. Veronica wasn't taking Benny's disrespectfulness. David wasn't taking Jim being a son of a bitch. And Jeffrey, he was done with Wyatt and Justin. That was pretty intense. So as a family collective, I think the Harringtons win this episode, because David just was not in the mood. That was great. Jim going off the handle. This really did show the difference between Jim and David. We haven't seen this in a while, ever since like season 1, season 2. I think even Candace was told this by David in season 3 when they were sitting at the bar at the Shenanigans hotel, and she put her foot in his lap, like, get your foot off of me. And it's like, that's the difference between Jim and I. Jim is reacting off his emotions, but I like to stalk my prey, study them, and then pounce. Pretty much, explaining how Oscar took the money to begin. Well, Oscar was set up with Candace to begin with. But yeah, it was all about him keeping a cool head, looking at the clues, and I love how they broke everything down, like, call Lloyd at the bank, then they found out Veronica set it up, then it was set up for Candace Young, then it was deposited into Benny Young's account. So now Jim doesn't have, you know, the best opinion of Benny right now. And then it goes back to what I said before about Erica eavesdropping, and it's like, you know what, let Candace burn, that way you can live. I mean, even Candace like, you be happy about that, right? It's like, no, I'm sorry. And I'm just like, you know what, Erica, just don't even call her anymore. Just sit at the house and until she calls you. I really don't even see the point, because if anything, you would benefit from Candace being dead, and then Veronica will be your only opposition. So there's that. But yeah, when he called Lloyd, get your fat sweaty ass up, I lost it. I swear, Veronica and Jim are the MVPs of funniest dialogue in the episode. Oh, and I did like the dynamic of Veronica kissing RK and whatnot. I think Benny had his back turned. It's almost like Veronica was using RK to make Benny jealous, like Veronica was using Benny to make David jealous. So that was pretty funny. Yeah, let's see here. I really don't even have just much to say about Charles. I think it's just pathetic that he's willing to move to Savannah for a woman. It would be different if him and Candace were close or anything, but it's like she wants nothing to do with you. Not to mention in a couple episodes of the episode's moles, she's actually going to be trying to split town. So I really have nothing to say about Charles. I mean, ladies think, you know, hey, this is a good looking guy, curly hair, but it's just, I don't like his character. He's just way too dramatic. You know, like, I like her, and that's it. I like her. Oh, okay, so what? So I just definitely feel like Landon is right in what he's saying about her, but at the same time, you know that he's only saying this stuff not only for Charles to win the White House, but also because he likes Charles to begin with. And here we go with the shoe thing again. If you're not used to being waited on hand and foot. And I'm just like, well, are the other candidates going through the same thing where their campaign managers trying to unlace their shoes and take off their jacket? I don't know. Really, I have nothing else to say about Charles and Landon. I just feel like that's a wasted plot. I don't even know. Yeah, Veronica made a good point. Police around here don't work that fast. That is absolutely correct. Let's see here. Then, like I said, earlier in the episode, Jeffrey just took control of the situation, put Wyatt away. And I did like that line about, if you murdered a man, you need to call the police. It's better to call them now than to let them find out. I feel like that was a nod to the whole Quincy Maxwell murder, when Jeffrey wanted to call the police, but Candace didn't let him do it, and that caused all the trouble that he's in now. So I did like that nod to like season 4. Wyatt gets taken away, and Justin comes in acting like I don't know what the hell is up with Justin. That was just so fake. It's like, look, I am calm, which I admit is actually different for him. But then, you know, Jeffrey hit the crazy button saying, I don't want to see you, and that was it. I just love how Jeffrey took control of the situation. But just like Mitch being distraught because his uncle is dead, and Jim being upset that his money is gone, and then Jeffrey is like, look, I had to put the man I love into rehab, and I don't want to deal with your stalkerish behavior. And then the episode ends with guns pointed to their heads, and it's like, home is wherever you are. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it's hard to tell who's more whipped, Justin or Charles. This is sad, just very sad. And overall, I feel like an 8 out of 10 is a solid score for the episode. I did like the fact that this episode had a lot of season 1 vibes. What I mean by that is the fact that Candace takes some money she doesn't deserve, and then she gets into the mix. Benny gets wrapped up into it, just like, you know, remember when season 1, Benny got arrested in the car because it had coke in it because David set it up. That was the car that Candace blackmailed from Jim. Then Benny landed in jail. Then we have Benny taking money for Candace, which he thinks is thousands of dollars, but it turns out that it's millions. And then it's like, you know, now he's looking in a bad position with both David and Jim. Catherine, I will admit that Catherine actually sticking up for Jim. Maybe it's because she put 2 and 2 together when Hannah came over to her and asked for legal help. And she knew it's like a bar on 7th. And then she probably like, oh man, Wyatt did that. Now Benny's in trouble. And you know, if Catherine told Jim would want Benny arrested because he thinks that Benny knowingly took the millions of dollars. So yeah, it's very crazy. I do like the fact that both Benny and Catherine put Hannah in her place. Now, not in a bad way, but just the fact that, look, Benny is an adult. He makes his own decisions. If he wants to go to Veronica, then that's his own choice. But to be fair, she is the best at what she does. So there's that. And I just didn't like, look, I'm not saying I disliked Hannah. It's just that This is the Hannah I didn't want to see, because I love her being happy. Even though we're suspect of Derek as a character, at least we saw Hannah happy, and this upset crying Hannah is not the Hannah I want to see. So with that being said, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about in this episode. This episode review is kind of shorter than usual, but that's a good thing. I feel like this episode was definitely set up for what's to come. Team of Rivals next week, so be on the lookout for my trailer breakdown for Team of Rivals. And then I'm also going to be doing an episode review of the premiere of Love Is. So as I said at the beginning, if you're new to the channel, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you thought of this episode, Sugar Mama, and I'll talk to y'all soon.